Morning, everybody. Good morning. 12th of May. Here we are for today's webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Few shout outs. Richard, hello. Peter, Gareth, good to see you in here nice and early. Shirley, Anne, welcome again. Wendy, Chris, good morning. Ben, Vince, Mary. I think I've said hi to the same person twice there. Nigel, hello. Welcome. And thank you for joining us. So on today's webinar, we're going to be hearing a lot more from Josh. Now, Josh is our technical guru, is probably the best phrase. He is our guy that looks after our digital marketing for InfoServe and all of our analytics and Google Search Console side of things. So Josh is really into the technical side of digital marketing, and there's no better person to help walk you through the Google Search Console and some other things related to that. So we're going to show you a couple of tricks this morning. And what we've done, we've had a little chat after yesterday's session. We were talking about tools. We looked into some of the basics yesterday, and we had a chat, and we thought, you know what? We haven't really gone enough into the whole analytics side of things. So we really do feel as if there's some key essential things in there that everybody should be using and applying to their digital marketing. So there's a couple of essentials that we're showing you today. And so what we did, we thought, okay, well, it's only Tuesday. So we thought, well, we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to go into some more detail around your website. And we're going to be looking at landing page optimization tomorrow. So what we want to do tomorrow is focus in on more kind of running a promotion, but using email marketing. So for those of you that aren't using email marketing, why not? That is it's a huge part of our own success, and many of our successful customers. You should be using digital email marketing, and I'll show you more on that tomorrow, how you can do it for free. There's a couple of big tips that I want to go through with you for creating the perfect email and then linking that email to a landing page on your website. I'm going to show you also how to get more emails generally. So I've got a few tips and tricks up the sleeve tomorrow. So that's more around how you can market to your existing customers or an email database. But also it's really around your website as well. So it's a big one in terms of how your website can work for any kind of marketing, any kind of promotion. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. And like I say, we have got a couple of special guests this week. One of which is our head of Google Ads and Microsoft Ads, Dan Lescano. He's joining us this week. We're just finding the right time for that. So we're building up to that. That should be on Thursday. So for today, well, I am waiting on Josh, and I'm just going to check in. Here he is.
Hello.
Hi, Josh.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Eager to go through Google Analytics today.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of things I want to highlight first before we do anything, though.
Yep.
So I'm just really quickly going to share my screen. Before I do go on, so for those that haven't been in these webinars, well, we've uploaded them to YouTube for you anyway now. So, Josh, you might want to drop that link in again, just in case anyone's missed that. YouTube, so we've got maybe 6 videos on there. I think Josh is uploading a couple more at the moment, but we've uploaded them all to YouTube. We've been covering Google, Bing. I mean, on the Bing thing, a few people have asked me about Bing. Is it worth advertising on Bing? Absolutely worth advertising on Bing. It has over a 20% market share in the UK market. So the reason why it has such a high market share, more than what even I anticipated, the reason why is simply because of Windows 10 and PCs in the UK market. So whenever you get a PC, it usually comes with Windows, or you'll get some kind of Microsoft software. Bing is the default search engine always on anything Microsoft. And so that's including Xbox, I think even Alexa, Josh, I got one of those big speakers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Alexa, obviously Windows 10 being the big one, but Microsoft also own LinkedIn. There's absolutely tons of reach that Microsoft has now. So Microsoft Ads is, or even just general Microsoft, check your listing on Bing. So Bing is owned by Microsoft. Check your listing on Bing. Check where you are on Bing. Check your organic ranking. Type your business name in. How does it all look? Do not overlook Microsoft. We actually really love it because of the quality of the traffic is so good. I don't know what it is, but I think there's less people on Bing time wasting. So there's fewer time wasters using that search engine. I think it's a really good place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, Microsoft. We've been looking at Google. We've been looking at your website, SEO. We've even touched on Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. For me personally, I encourage all of you to do it. But Google Ads and Microsoft Ads are the most powerful products and solutions that I've encountered in digital marketing. If any of you were to speak to me, or if I speak to you offline, the first thing I would say is get on Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. I've set it up myself with Dan, our guy Dan, for a couple of customers that came to me offline in the last year or so, and all of them are still doing the same because it works so well. The ad side of things is so powerful, and I showed this example. This is a chap that reached out to me. I don't normally get involved at this level, really. It can take up quite a bit of time and effort. So me and the team helped out Keith. So those few people that I have spoken to so far, it's been wonderful to speak to, and I really enjoy doing it. Just haven't got much time to do it sometimes. But Keith was one of the guys that I helped maybe, I think it was 2 years ago now. He has got, in the last 12 months, £240,000 from the PPC campaign. And this isn't, made up or one of those kind of cheesy, look what we've done from the last 12 months. This is real numbers that he wanted to really make clear to everyone. He spends £900 a month. What we did is we put a lot of other things around it. It wasn't just PPC, but PPC is the main driver of the inquiries. So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is it is so powerful because it gets you found for all these different keyword variations. We would split test different ads. We would track phone calls. It is just so powerful. It's incredible. But what you've got to do is you've got to mix it. And this is what we're starting to go into a bit more today and tomorrow. You've got to mix it with other things. So you've all seen this customer journey, this consumer journey. You can't just run a PPC campaign, or you can't just have a listing campaign, or just Facebook ads. You've got to have a holistic approach to marketing. And this is what we did with Keith. We built a website for him. We obviously did SEO on that website. Ran a Google Ads campaign, all those different things on screen there. We did email marketing, Facebook ads. But at the heart of this, there's one thing that we used to measure the performance and measure success. And it's something that you can use as well. And once you start to get used to it, you can see the potential. You'll start to understand the potential of it. And that thing was Google Analytics and Search Console, Google Search Console. So those two items were sitting at the heart of all of this marketing. And those were the things that we looked at on a weekly or monthly basis to really measure performance and measure success. And then we're able to adapt the marketing accordingly. So it does require a marketing mix. But I really feel at the heart of all of this, Google Ads and Microsoft Ads is really the main driver of the inquiries. I think it's just so powerful. So what's sitting at the heart of this? Well, it's, like I say, Google Analytics and Google Search Console. And following on from yesterday's overview of tools, we looked at a kind of basic few tools yesterday, things that you can do. Today, what we're doing is giving you more information and more tips that you can do for free on your computer at home. So Josh is, like I say, the technical guy here when it comes to analytics and Search Console. And he wants to walk you through a couple of essential bits that we think you should be looking out for. And if you don't use this all the time, that's okay. But we really do think there's a couple of things in here that you should be looking out for month to month. Josh, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. If not more, it really is a tool that once we really go into it, this is really a tool where, as you've mentioned, you can measure your success. The main thing that I use it for at InfoServe is seeing how well campaigns have run, and then measuring the success from that, and then tweaking. It's the improvements and the testing which you can implement based on the real life data that you actually see happening on your site. We can speculate all day long. We can show you Google ads, we can show you Facebook ads, but the proof's in the pudding. It's making sure that what you actually implement is actually having a positive return and it's actually working, and that's what analytics is all about.
Okay, I fully agree, Josh. Yeah, very good point. You can speculate and you can run marketing. You can do email marketing. You can do SEO. You can do Google ads, whatever it may be. But we really feel like there's no point in doing any of that unless you're looking at your Google Analytics. So this is a bit of an eye-opener today, and it's some of it might be a bit technical, some of it might be useful, some of it might not be, but at least maybe just have a look at some of the bits that Josh is going to walk through. So I'm going to hand it over to Josh now for the first time in this webinar series. So let's stick with Josh, and I'm going to wait until the end because I've got a couple of things I want to go through at the end. But let's have a look at this because I know personally that there's some really, really big tips that come out of this that really are going to help your digital marketing. So I'm going to hand it over to Josh. Josh, I know you'll do great with this one because it's your forte. So I'll hand it over.
Brilliant. Perfect. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to show you the dashboard of Google Analytics. Now, I'm going to be using a demo account. So this demo account is actually provided by Google. I will put the link in the chat as well for you, so you can access this demo account. There is a support article from Google. Here it is. So in there, you can access your demo account. So even if you don't have any data in your analytics, let's talk about worst case scenario. Let's say for whatever reason, you don't have any analytics on your website, which you need, which will show you why. You can play with the demo account so you can get an idea of what your traffic potentially might look like and the tips and stuff you can take from there. Have a play with a demo account, really get used to Google Analytics. As soon as you install Analytics, it does take a little while for the data to start populating and coming through. But this is a quick fix solution. This is something where you can really start learning and giving it a go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Now, I am aware on how complex this really does look off the bat. But don't worry, it is very easy to use once you know what all of these tabs do. So your main actions are here on the left-hand side. You have got your home view, which will give you an overview of everything that's happening on your site. So right now we've got an audience kind of overview. We've got active users right now. So we've got 41 people on the site at the moment. But again, this doesn't really mean anything until I explain what it all does. So let's focus on the reports, because the reports is where you'll spend most of your time in analytics. Now, your reports are on the left-hand side. You have got a couple of different options. You have real-time, you have audience, you have acquisition, behavior, and conversions. So this is where you can find all of your information to do with everything that happens on your site, how long people spend on each page, what they do after visiting that page, where they've come from, if they've filled in a form, if they've bought anything from your store, if they have watched a video, whatever it may be, whatever you want to set up, it's in here. So let's talk about the nice, easy one to begin with, which is real time. So real time, as the name suggests, is how many visitors are on that web page at this moment of time. It's real-time data. So right now we have 38 active users on site, and you can see that 71% of those users are on a mobile and 29% of those are on a desktop. And again, this is real-time. It will update every couple of seconds or so. as you can see, it is updating per second here, and it's updating per minute here. You can see your top active pages. So this is where you can see where the majority of people are on the site. So at the moment, the majority of people, 45% of all active users right now are on the home page. And again, it then splits down onto who's on each page. So your real time shows what's happening right now, where they are, and what they are looking at. Your audience. So I'm just going to give you an overview of each. So an audience, your audience tab, this is where you find your demographic. This is where you find your gender, the devices people are using, and so much more. This is where you can really understand your visitors in more depth. So I'm just clicking on the overview tabs for each. So I've gone to audience and I've gone to overview. So audience, as you can see, in the last, so this is your date range in the top right-hand corner. So from the 5th of May to the 11th of May, we can see all of our analytics. So in there, we can see that between this date range, between the last 5 days or so, we can see that there's been 12,392 visitors on the site. 11,000 of those are new visitors. Sessions are purely based on, if you hover over it, it will give you a little brief description. But basically what sessions are is one user can have 2 sessions. The session expires after 30 minutes. So if I was to go on to, I don't know, any website, Nike, for instance, do some shopping, and then I close it or go off it, or even if I just leave it idle for 30 minutes, when I come back on, it will generate a new session. Sessions per user is obviously how many sessions per user based on these two divided by each other. So 1.23 sessions per user. Page views, again, pretty self-explanatory, the number of views on a page. Now, this is the juicy part, the pages per session. 4.25 is incredibly high, which is incredibly good. Again, this is sample data. This is all from Google Merchandise Store, I believe, where you can actually buy stuff from Google. You can buy merch from Google with cups and T-shirts and so forth. I believe this is all the data from there. So as we can see, people on average in the last 5 days or so, from the 11th to the 5th, we can see that people look on average on 4 pages per session. So that's telling me straight away that these pages that they're looking at are engaging. These pages are what people want to look at because they're looking through multiple pages, which is the ultimate goal for any website. Keep them engaged, keep them on the site for as long as possible. Average session duration, nearly 3 minutes, which is incredible for internet searching, to stay on a page for around 3 minutes. Not necessarily one page, but it's the whole session. As we know, we go on about 4 sessions per pages. 4 pages per session. There we go. Again, 3 minutes is incredibly high. And we've got a bounce rate of 48%, which is around the sweet spot. Anything higher than kind of 50, you need to start looking at why people are bouncing. Bounce rate, to wrap that up, is basically how many people will click on the site and then jump straight off. I am aware that this is pretty boring, mundane stuff. Don't worry, we will get into the nitty gritty on how you can really optimize your site for that. But again, that's just a kind of a quick overview of audience.
Josh,
oh yeah.
Sorry, Josh. Even though I think I've frozen, but you can hear me. Josh, I was just going to ask about bounce rate. You just mentioned how I've had a couple of business owners ask about bounce rate, actually, just whilst we're on that topic.
Yeah.
What is a good bounce rate?
So a good bounce rate, it completely depends on your industry. If you are for instance, if you're an emergency plumber and you're kind of running an ad campaign for emergency plumbing, bounce rate would be quite high for that, because bearing in mind, people would click onto your website, find your number, and then probably click straight off. That's not necessarily a bad thing in that case. Whereas bounce rate for an e-com site, anyone that sells online, for instance, you're wanting people to engage with your site as much as possible. So the lower the bounce rate, the better. Again, it's around kind of, I'd recommend around anywhere below 50% is a good bounce rate. If you have more than half of your visitors just coming straight off your site, there's something wrong, and they're not finding the content which they're intending to look for. And again, I will show you how you can find that information out, what search terms they've come from, and how to optimize it.
On a landing page, sorry, as well, Josh, when
Yeah.
you're running a campaign and you've got everyone going to a specific landing page, the bounce rate is slightly irrelevant sometimes then as well, because if you set up a campaign, or if you, like I say, getting people to a specific page on your website, and on that page everything should be on that page that the visitor needs. You know, contact form, product or service description, call to action, reviews, testimonials, etc. We've talked about this before, but so bounce rate sometimes, guys, if you're looking at your bounce rate for a campaign on a landing page, you don't have to worry so much about that, because people go on there and they won't need to go to another page on your website and things like that. So sometimes bounce rate can be one of those worrying things, but it doesn't need to be.
Exactly, yeah. It's as it says kind of here. I don't know if you can see that, but it says it's a percentage of a single page session in which there was no interaction with the page. Now, bearing in mind, if you do have a like a call campaign or something like that, if you haven't set up that goal, then it won't track that as an interaction. Again, this is just anyone that kind of just clicks on and clicks straight off around kind of 0 seconds. There could be a number of reasons. Your bounce rate, as you mentioned, is mainly for your home page and your service pages, rather than dedicated landing pages for a campaign.
If someone has got analytics on their website, then you should be able to access that through Google Analytics. If you haven't got it on your website, we'll show you, I think, how to quickly set that up, won't we, Josh? Just a couple of questions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we're going to show you how to access this on your own website. Again, you should have a Google account for all of your business stuff. That's what I'd recommend. If you do have it in your personal account, that's no problem at all. It still works just as fine. But a little tip for all business owners out there: if you have a separate Google account for all your business stuff, then you keep it nice and separate, and then you log into your business account. For me, obviously, it's josh.gill@infoserve.com, and then I've got all my other private emails. But that's where I keep all my business stuff. And as a business owner, if you've got InfoServe, for instance, and then everyone else can access that on your GMB, on your analytics and stuff. Just a little top tip for you to keep it nice and centralized, so you're not losing all this information. So the audience, again, it's where you find your demographic. It's where you find your gender, what devices people use, the age, all that kind of stuff to do with the audience. This tab helps you understand your visitors in more depth. So your acquisition tab, this is the source of your web traffic. This is where people are coming from onto your site. So in here, you can see where people will find you. So I'm just going to click on the overview tab there. And again, this will give you a nice overview, all dependent on this date range. This catches me out all the time, especially when I was first learning it. Be aware of the date range that you have selected. And again, in the last kind of 5 to 6 days here, we have 7,592 people finding this site organically. So an organic search is basically your SEO. That's on Google, that's on Bing. And as we can see, everyone that comes from organic search here has a bounce rate of 53%. And you can see the conversion rate as well in terms of actually turning it into revenue. Don't worry too much about the conversion rate. I will get into that because you can track multiple things with your conversion rate. Let me just change it to all goals there. There we go. So this is all goals, whether that be form fills, phone calls, or someone actually buying from the store. And again, this is where people are coming from. Let's say you are running a social campaign. You'd obviously expect this social bit here to get higher and higher per day, per month, per week. And I will show you how you can compare those two sets of data. So acquisition is your source of your web traffic. It's where people are coming from. Your behavior tab this is how people behave on your website. So which pages are visited the most? If they stay on your site, And this helps understand if people are engaging with your content. So this behavior tab, I've just clicked onto the overview, and it will show you a list of all the pages that people are viewing and the percent of page views that they get, all to do with this date range. Again, I will keep enforcing that because it catches me out all the time. So these are your landing pages. These are your individual service pages. This is where people are interacting with. So obviously, as you'd expect with all websites, the majority of traffic is on the homepage. And then we can see that people are looking at a store and the store quick view. And again, you can click into here and it'll give you more data around there. I'm just going to keep it on overview for now, just keep it nice and simple. And again, we can have a look at, so let's play with this date range. Let's go from the 1st of March, for instance, and let's have a look and see kind of what percentage of traffic. So people are interacting with the store, the second most. We can see the page views, average time on page, and the bounce rate, and so forth. So again, behavior, there's loads of different tabs in behavior. I'm just sticking for overview for now, but this is where you can find how people behave on the site. It will even show you, I will quickly go into it, it will even show you a behavior flow. So what this does is it will show you based on all of your traffic. So you can choose, for instance, I want to choose my landing pages here. So these are all the landing pages, and you can see where they then go and interact with your site. You can really understand the customer journey on your website, which is a big part of marketing. So the last one to go through is obviously conversions. Conversions are the actions that visitors take and where they have come from. With a conversion, you can set these, let me just go into goals and overview. You can set as many goals as you'd like based on whatever you want, really. So what I mean by that is you can set a goal as, I want people to be on this page for more than 3 minutes on this certain page, and you can set that as a goal. You can set a goal as, I want people to purchase a product. I want people to go through the checkout flow. I want people to add things to their basket. I want people to watch this video. Whatever you want on to measure on your website, you can. All you have to do is set up that goal. I will walk through kind of setting up goals and how you can do that. But based on the date range, because I've changed it, it's now the 1st of March to the 11th of May, we can see that this website has had 13,528 goal completions. We have a conversion rate of 10%, which is incredible. 10% of all the traffic between this date range that came onto the website converted into a goal conversion, whatever goal conversions you have set up. So in the majority of everyone's case that is watching the webinar today, I would highly recommend setting up someone calling you as a goal. I'd also set up someone filling in a form as a goal. That way you can see exactly how many percentage of people on your site actually convert into a potential customer, into a lead. Now, this is where you'll probably spend most of your time tracking this information. You can see, for instance, let's have a look at last month's data. Let's have a look at March. Let's do it live. So let's have a look at March, just March only. So I can see that we have a goal conversion rate of 9.83, and we had 5,242 goal completions. Let's say, I don't know, I've just started a brand new kind of campaign. I'm doing a bit of email marketing. I'm also doing a bit of social media. I'm really trying to push my social media. Let's see if my efforts have paid off so far. What you can do in Google Analytics, no matter which report you are in, you can compare the data. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to go up to the top right hand corner, the 1st of March to the 31st of March, which we chose earlier. And I'm going to compare. I'm going to click this button here and I'm going to click compare to. And let me compare that to February, for instance. It's just something that it's already filled in. So I'm going to compare it for the whole of February. Let me choose March to begin with, and then I'm going to choose February, and I'm going to click apply. Obviously, February has less days in it. That's why it tried to do a little bit beyond. And again, because I'm comparing this data, we can see how well we have done. Now, obviously, this is March compared to February. There was a lot of big changes in March for everyone, including the Google merchandise store. So this is going to show a lot of red. As we can see, our goal conversion rate has gone down by 11%. So it was 11.05 and it's gone down to 9.83% there. And again, we can track the goal conversions over time. But what this is showing you is you can see exactly how many goal completions we got. So in February, we got 909 goal completions on the Your Info page. But now we've only got 696. So there has been a decrease there. And again, you can see that there has steadily been a decrease, which is obviously not a good thing. So what we can do, I kind of want to show you some positive data here. So let me kind of compare between March and April. So I'm just going to click April there. I'm going to click OK. Hopefully it's gone up. Let's have a look. No, it hasn't. Again, this is a strange time to obviously be comparing because everything has gone on. But this is the point I'm trying to make here is you can really track your goal completions and the information that you get from Google Analytics. It's all here ready to see, basically. So that's kind of conversions as an overview. Don't want to go too in depth into there for now, but you can set up your goals and what your goals are. Let me just get rid of this compare and click OK. Brilliant. So now we're just in the month of March. And another kind of handy tip to show you is the search function. So Google will give you some insights of what questions you can ask. You can literally click what questions can you ask, and it will give you loads of information. So you've got basic performance, where did users come from, what campaigns have the most sessions, for instance. You can find out content content analytics, anything you want in here. So I can type in, for instance, if I'm interested in LinkedIn. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to type in LinkedIn, page views for social network of LinkedIn. It's giving me a suggestion there. And there we go. I can see in the month of March, we've had 3 page views because of LinkedIn. Again, that was just a little quick example there of how you can use the search function and how you can search for things. If you want to find out bounce rate or if you want to find out conversions, just give it a search and it is really handy in there. So obviously, that's a lot of information. There's a lot of different things you can look at. There's loads of analytics in there, loads of data. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the top metrics to look out for. The top metrics which I look out for working at InfoServe and kind of running the marketing there. So the top metrics to look for. What I'd look for straight away is the visitor data, is where people are coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into audience because I want to find out more about my audience. I want to find out more about my demographic, my gender, what devices they're using and so forth. So I'm going to go to audience and I'm going to click on overview. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look in here and I'm going to look at that compare option again. So let's have a look at compared to a previous period. Let's have a look from the previous year, for instance. So if we're in May, let me go for March. Actually, let me get out of this pandemic and let me have a look around January kind of time. And then I'm going to compare it with last year's data. So I'm going to click apply. Hopefully we'll see some positive increase in here. There we go. We do have some. That's good to see. So I'm comparing this with last year, last January. So January 2020 compared with January 2019. In here, we can see straight away that we have had an increase of users, which is brilliant to see. So we had 44,000 people last time. Now, this year, we have 49,000 people, which is brilliant. We've got more people viewing the site, especially new users. So I can see whatever efforts I've been putting into are paying off in terms of new users. Again, this is just comparing 1 month from this year compared to last year. You can compare the full year's data if you'd like. I'm just using this as an example, but a 16% increase in new users. If you're after new business and you're after brand awareness, that's a stat to look for. And again, we've got sessions. We've seen an increase in sessions. Unfortunately, bounce rate has increased from 36% to 45%. So instantly, straight away, I've seen that more people are bouncing. I need to find out why. Why are these people, why are 26% more people coming straight off my website? Are they not finding what they want? Is my website loading too slow? But again, this starts to give you an understanding of what's happening on your website. And again, you have loads of different information. You've got new and returning visitors compared. And it's all in here. So let's have a look at where's it gone? Let's have a look at the mobile. There we go. So I'm just going to go to mobile and I'm going to click on overview. And this way I can have a look at my devices. So this will help me build my content based on the devices that people will use. So I'm just going to turn off that compare just so it looks a bit more tidy for you, and then we can compare later. Again, this is comparing January. So I can see that the majority of people, actually 69% of people during January, were looking at desktop. So desktop was actually my stronger performing device where people prefer to use this website. Mobile comes in at 28% at 14,000, and tablet comes in at just 1.62%. Again, this will massively change depending on what industry you're working and depending on who you're targeting. The reason I'm showing you this is because then you know, for instance, that you need to put more effort into this case, into the desktop side. Let's just have a look at the full year of 2019, for instance. Let's just have a look. Let me just click apply. Again, really easy to find this data. Oh, so the 67% are actually coming from desktop, which is very, very high. And then 30% are coming from mobile. And again, this is across the year. You can change this graph at the top to choose month to find out users. And in here, you can really set what you have a look at. So I can have a look at pages per session, see if that's increased through the year or decreased. Unfortunately, it has decreased. It was stronger at 5 pages per session back in January, and now it's getting worse and worse as time goes on. So why aren't people looking at more pages? That could be a good thing. Potentially they're looking at what they've seen. Now, with us just having a quick look there, we've seen our bounce rate has increased, and we've seen people are not looking at as many pages. Why is that? That is concerning for me looking at this. So we've seen the bounce rate go up. More people are leaving before they even interact with the site, and less people are looking at more pages. So that tells me that the content tweaks that we've done over time is not working to our favor. Again, this is Google Merchandise Store. In here, you can see where people transact and where all the goals are. So you can change it to all goal completions, which I presume a lot of you would rather look at. That will be your calls and your form fills. Not many of you have an online store. But in here, we can see that the goal conversion rate on desktop is actually higher. So we've got our best converting device is desktop. So based on this, I need to have a look at my desktop site, desktop version of my site, and start pumping more traffic to that version, start targeting desktop a lot more, optimize the content for desktop based on what we found here. It normally is the other way around. This is why I'm a bit shocked. Normally it is mobile, especially for small businesses like yourselves. But again, this is Google Merchandise Store. I can't imagine many people would find the merchandise store on their phone and then shop on it. Again, 30% are, but the majority, 70% nearly, are looking on desktop. And in here, you can really see the bounce rate, the pages per session, and the average session duration. Even people are staying on the pages longer. They're looking at more pages, and we have the lowest bounce rate. So desktop is definitely our strongest contender for this website. And again, instantly already I know that I need to put more effort to there. So these are some top metrics to look for. This is what I'd recommend starting off with. Again, all I've done is go into audience. I've clicked onto overview. In here, you can see exactly how many people have been on your site over the year, over the month, over the last week, whatever it may be. And again, you can compare this data to see how potentially COVID-19 has affected your website traffic. Maybe you've noticed a decrease in inquiries and you're not too sure why. Have a look at your analytics. It will all be there. Potentially, you could be getting found more. You never know. You might find that more people are finding you from Google, but less people are inquiring. Why is that? Is that because people don't have money at the moment to be spending on your service? Are they still interested in your service? Are they still looking for you on Google? This is all information you as a business owner need to know, especially to plan marketing campaigns and where you should put your budget in terms of Google, Facebook, or whatever. Again, marketing consultants like myself and Matt and everyone at InfoServe, we can only advise so much in terms of best practices and what's best to do. The real advice comes from looking at your analytics and having a look at what you guys can do as well. Again, as we've mentioned, the best customers, not the best customers, sorry, the best performing campaigns that we look at is where we look at all the data when we find out all this information. We're all geeks at heart. We love to do this at InfoServe. This is what we're all over. So let's have a look at how they find you. Moving on to nicely on how these customers are actually finding you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to acquisition, because again, in acquisition, this is the source of your web traffic. So I want to have a look at the source of my web traffic and where they're actually coming from and see where I need to put more effort or where I need to pick up in what I'm lacking on. So I'm going to go on to acquisition, and then I'm going to go on to overview. And again, I showed you this briefly earlier. So in here, again, this is across the whole year. Again, because I keep changing the date range, don't let that catch you out. So in here, we can see, so automatically it's filtered on users, so the most amount of users. But let's say I want to find out where people are converting the most. I want to find out where the best goal conversions have come from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on here in goal conversions, just on the right hand side, and I'm going to filter it by goal conversions. So as I can see, 26% of all the traffic from the last year have converted into an inquiry through referrals. Now that is really interesting to see. Let me just open up all 8 channels for you. Actually, I'll just move it back so it's a bit more visual. And again, so let's go back onto there. 28%, 26% have come from referrals. Now, your referrals are basically people, the websites, links to your website. So you do have social in here, so it's not from social, and you do have affiliates and organic search. Your referrals are coming from kind of other links around the web. So I can see that we actually convert better in terms of our goal conversions that we've set up from referrals. Now that's really interesting to see. I can see that our second best converting source of traffic is paid search. So these guys have run a paid search campaign. That's the thing, though. At a quick glance, I find this really interesting. You can see I'm getting quite excited now. In here, you can see that there's only 24,000 people who have come from paid search. However, it is the second highest converting source of traffic. Now, that's really interesting to see. So now we know from the past year, our paid search is converting better. So we're getting more inquiries, getting more phone calls, more form fills, more orders on our website. That tells me a huge lot that this paid search campaign is actually working. Yes, it's only got 24,000 compared to 631,000 across the year. That's a very small percentage. A very small percentage indeed of the actual percentage of people. Let's find out if we can find that. It does tell you. I'm just clicking see all channels here. And then we've got paid search. We filter it by goal conversion rate. There we go, paid search. So 3% of all my users, 3% of my traffic is the second highest converting amount of traffic. So that's telling me I'm not getting a lot of those visitors, but they are very good quality traffic. This is a brilliant overview of looking at your Google ads and looking at other avenues compared to what's happening around you. That's an incredible thing to know. Straight away, I know I need to put more money into paid search because I'm going to see a higher return. Let me actually change it to e-com. Let me pretend that we sell online together. So I'm going to organize it by e-commerce. Oh, there we go. Straight away. So e-commerce is separate to all goals. The reason being, all goals would be phone calls, form fills, setting up an account, subscribing to your newsletter. It could even be having a video. Again, we'll run through goals together in a little bit. But I've changed it to actual transactions. So let's say we're transacting online, 0.3% conversion rate, which is quite good for e-com. It's around kind of 1% you'd expect. But again, paid search, it's only 3% of our traffic, but yet it is our highest converting in terms of actual transactions. So that's the percentage between people visiting and people actually transacting. There's some really useful information in here. And again, you can find out where the majority of your transactions have come from. Obviously, with 56% of your traffic coming from organic search, the majority of your transactions are going to come from organic. But as we can see, in terms of highest converting, it's actually paid search. So straight away, I know I need to put more money into paid search because I'm going to get more conversions per 100 people that visit my site. Really useful information to know. And as you can see, you can track exactly how much money you've made. So this is over the past year. So in total, $67,000 in revenue. And again, 6,000 of that came from paid search, 19,000 came from direct, and again, so on and so forth. Some really, really useful information for you guys to have a go there. Again, use this demo account, have a look, get used to how it feels, get used to how the data looks. If you don't have analytics, you won't have any information to look at yet. So again, I'm running through the top metrics to look out for. So I've gone through visitor data. So visitor data is your audience report. So you go to audience and then overview, and you can choose a date range and you can compare how many new people are visiting your site, how many people are visiting per the amount of pages. I've gone through devices. So devices are when you go to audience and then you go to mobile and you can click on devices or overview. And this will show you exactly how many, what devices people are using. So in here, it's a bit more specific. You can go into the overview tab and find out desktop, mobile, or tablet. But when you actually click into devices, you can find out where people are majority coming from. So for here, Apple iPhone, straight away, you can tell yourself that, well, in matter of fact, the best thing to do in terms of actual mobile would be optimize your mobile site for an Apple iPhone rather than a Google Pixel. Again, some really good information for you there. And you can get perfect screen sizes, perfect images, and so forth if you wanted to. I've shown you how they find you. So that's in acquisition, and then that's in overview. And this is how they find your business and what traffic, what source of web traffic is converting the best in terms of goal conversions. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to change the conversion up here to ecom, which is our online store. And let's have a look. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's paid search. A nice little visual for you there. Really juicy information to find out. The next thing I'm going to look at in terms of top metrics to look out for is your landing pages. Let's have a look to see what landing pages are working best. So because I'm after what landing pages are working best, that fits into the behavior tab, because the behavior tab is where you learn how people behave on your site, what pages are most visited, and if they stay on your site. And this helps understand if people are engaging with your content. So this is what we're going to be finding out now. So I'm going to go to landing pages. So I'm going to go to behavior, and then I'm going to go to site content, and then going to go on to landing pages. So this will show you all of your landing pages. Down here, if you show, there's 976 web pages on this website. It's showing the first 10. Let's show the first 25. just so you've got a bit of data there to look at. And again, this will all be your website when you have it up and running. The majority of people are obviously coming from the homepage. But again, let's have a look at goals, our most important avenue. Let's find out what landing page is actually converting the best. Now, this is really useful information. Once you know how to find out what landing page is converting best, you can copy, well, I wouldn't say copy, but you can look at why that landing page is converting best. You can see what things you potentially might have done. So let's say, I don't know, let's say you take one thing from this. And let's say you followed Matt's brilliant advice on how to create the perfect landing page. You can see, obviously after a couple of months and let the data roll in, you can see if all those tips and tricks are actually working. If adding testimonials has worked, if adding accreditations has worked, anything along those kind of lines, and then you can look at what you've learned and then implement it across your whole site. So let's have a quick look. So I'm going to go onto goal conversion rate again, which is just here. I've changed this to all goals. And then I'm going to click on goal conversion rate. I'm going to find out what is converting best. So as we can see, on this case, we have had 2 goal completions. Again, this is test data. I'm not too sure why it's showing 200%. We've had 1 session, we've had 1 user, and they've submitted 2 goal completions. It completely depends upon how these goals are set up. I will show you how to set up your goals if we don't run out of time. But on this occasion, we can see that Google redesign accessories, whatever web page that might be. Let's have a look at the web page together. You can click, if I just go back, you can click on here and it will take you to the web page. Page unavailable. Brilliant. Thank you, Google, for embarrassing me. Again, this is test data, just to get you used to it. On your website, you'll be able to click on your landing page. So let's say you are an emergency boiler repair, for instance. If we see emergency boiler repair here, and we can see that we're getting loads of conversions on that page, then we know that that's the page potentially where we need to send more people to, because more people are converting on it. Again, this will just help you plan your marketing. So this is landing pages, and this is how they, and this is where they come from. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to pick it up a little here. So we've got goals, and then we're going to go into goal overview. And again, I've shown you this already. This will show you your goal completion location. The majority of people will actually look at your info, and again, you can click into there, and then you just simply type in that into your URL to find out the goal. But yeah, so this is pretty much everything in a nutshell for what the top metrics to look for. So in here, we can see exactly what pages are converting the most in terms of goals. And then in here, I can type in, I can go to secondary dimension, and then I can type in source. Nope, sorry. If I go to behavior, and then I go to site content, and I go to landing pages.
Josh, sorry, I think it stopped screen sharing for a moment there.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Has it come back?
No, I can't see it, but the guys, people in chat might be able to see it, but it's just because I had to refresh just to come back in there. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
no, it still seems to be. I can see it when I change it like that.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
It should be good. So we've got landing pages in here, and I'm going to go to secondary dimension. The reason I'm doing this is I want to find out the source of where people are coming from to these landing pages. So I'm going to click on source medium on secondary dimension just here at the top. Now this will show me where people are coming from based on your landing page. Now this is getting pretty advanced now. So the home page is obviously the strongest landing page in terms of sessions, which it's defaulted by. And I can see that 24,000, 26% of my traffic across the entire year across the entire year. So 26% have come from organic and they're landing on the homepage. I then can see that some people are coming from mail.googleplex.com, which is a referral, which is another website where they've come from. Again, that could be City Visitor, that could be Brown Book, that could be The Sun. All these different business listings that we've shown you, it will show them there as well. So 8%, the second highest, landing on the homepage. And again, in here, we can really understand where people are coming from, and if what we're doing is right. And again, we've got Google CPC, which is paid search, going straight to the store, and that's nearly 2% of all our traffic across the year. And again, you can filter in here and see which pages are converting the best, as that's been a theme that we've been looking at. So I can see that people find us organically, land us on register success, which is obviously, I presume, registering to this site, and that's the highest converting landing page and the source where it's come from, which is Google organic search. Again, some really juicy information in there. So do we have time to go through setting up goals, Matt? I am concerned that we are running out of time. If you just let me know if we've got enough time to go through goals. He's not there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we could do. Yeah, I just want to touch on, if anyone's got an InfoServe website, I was just going to show the stats dashboard as well before we all went.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we can, if you can do it in a couple of minutes, yeah, we could do that.
It can overrun. I really would like to kind of go through all the different goals that we can set. I don't want to fill you too much with information. So if I can show you that tomorrow. I can show you the kind of the goal set up, and then you can run through the stats that all InfoServe website customers have. I think that'd be it'd work hand in hand with what we've shown.
That sounds good. Yeah, well, we'll save the juicy bit on goals for tomorrow then. But we'll just spend 5 or 10 minutes tomorrow just finishing off with the goals. But obviously, we have a big session planned as well for tomorrow when it comes to promotion, landing page, email marketing, etc. So we'll still be doing that, but we'll finish off the first thing tomorrow. Okay, well, I'll share my screen, Josh, really quickly, if that's okay. Can you see my screen?
I can indeed, yeah.
Okay, great. So obviously, if you have an InfoServe website, there are ways. I just wanted to finish off by showing you statistics within your InfoServe website dashboard. So first of all, I just want to say thank you, Josh. That content was really, really useful. That is, seriously, that can benefit everyone. I think there's, every single small business can take something away from the Google Analytics and Search Console content. So thank you so much. Really, really useful. And for those people that do have an InfoServe website, so for example, this is a customer that we showed you at the start, Aircon for All, and what I was saying at the start is that we did we've done as much as we could with this company to get them a return on investment. So they are seeing over £200,000 return. How are they seeing that much in terms of return? Well, it's not just pay-per-click, PPC. We did the SEO. Obviously, you can see there we've got the areas we cover page. So he ranks for various different locations, big locations as well. So he is appearing. We've obviously got the different service pages. So if I go to commercial air conditioning, we've got a dedicated commercial air conditioning page, etc., etc. So we've done all of the SEO and all that. If you have an InfoServe website, you can go into your dashboard, and just on the front page of your dashboard, you will see where you can edit the website. But look, you'll also see something called stats. And just whilst Josh was going through all those bits and bobs around analytics, it is worth having a quick look at this as well. Because if you do click on the stats, you can see a basic overview of what Josh just went through, really. This is sort of a very quick, basic overview. And I can filter it by, at the top here, by the time date. So I'm just going to go for the last month. And for this particular customer, you can see, so for the last month there, you can see that he's had 12 clicks to call, 7 form submissions. And you can start to see basic analytic detail here for, mobile phone visits, desktop visits, and so on and so on. And you've got some bits, you can deep dive into kind of some of the basic things in here as well. So I can go to engagement, I can have a look at site visits, and so on. So that's a very basic way of looking at your stats, your website stats, but it's there for everyone. If you have an InfoServe website, it's right there on the front screen. When you log in, you can have a look at how many people have even phoned you from your website, and you can have a look at each page on your website, and you can see time on site, bounce rate, etc., and kind of similar to Google Analytics, but like I say, very basic. I just wanted to go back. There we go. Okay, so that's all good. All right, thank you very much, Josh, for going through all that with us. I thought that was really useful. Josh is just answering some questions in the chat at the moment, but we're very conscious of time. We don't want to keep people more than an hour. So I will say thank you. Really appreciate that, Josh. Anything else you want to add before you go?
Yeah, I think the main thing to take away from what we've shown you with these analytics is have a play. I've put the link in the chat I'll put it in again as well, on how you can access the demo accounts. Now, the demo accounts, again, it's really useful because it will have all the goals set up. It will have everything all set up, and we'll show you goals tomorrow. But have a play in here. It just creates another property for you in your Google Analytics account. It keeps it completely separate, and it's just good to have a play with and really get a good understanding of what data you can have a look at with some data already filled out there. Really do get to grasps of the top metrics I kind of showed you to look out for there, which is visitor data, devices, how they find you, landing pages, and conversions. Once you get an understanding of those, you can really understand what happens on your site, why people leave, and potentially why you're not getting the inquiries which you think you should be getting. If you know you've ran PPC in the past and it hasn't worked, if you know you've done SEO in the past and it hasn't worked, have a look at why. Have a look at what pages they're leaving on. Again, everyone can speculate, but the proof's in the pudding. We really do need to understand your visitors and how they interact with your site. Otherwise, anything you do online is basically a stab in the dark. Really understanding that, or having people that do understand that, is going to put you in a better position than your competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I completely concur. Okay, so we lots of information to take in there.
Yes, there is.
It's really, really useful. I said we're stepping it up this week. We have a lot more to go as well. So some things around emailing, website optimization, and landing pages tomorrow. Next level stuff. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. everybody. Josh is going to answer a couple of last questions in the chat. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you've taken one or two things away from this again today, and we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.